Hammond City Court, Hammond City Council is now in session. Please stand for Pledge Allegiance. Clerk Golick, roll call.
Markovich. Spitali.
Here.
Venez.
Here.
Kalwinski.
Here.
Ulaki.
Here.
Higgs.
Here.
Emerson.
Here.
Enosa.
Here.
Opinker.
Here. Eight present, one absent. Moving on to number 3, a presentation by the ARC of Northwest Indiana, and that is Deborah Deaton. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity to speak to this wonderful organization. Lady and gentlemen. Well, I can say ladies, can't I? There's two. Past life, I was a trainer for a major beauty care company. And right about now, if I was doing the training or speaking, I would have stopped. I would have asked for all the lights to be dimmed. I won't do that tonight. Background music would have been softened. And I would ask you to take your shoes off and start to wiggle your toes and to get comfortable. Then I would light the candelabra that would be on the stage with me, and I would turn on the tabletop waterfall, which I think today we need, and the air would then be filled with wonderful bubbles. At this point, I would have everyone's attention, because I'm going to then explain to them how those bubbles come about. That was the company I worked for. Today, I am still charged with sharing information, but it is of a different kind. The subject matter has definitely changed. Some of you may know that the ARC Northwest Indiana, started in 1952, has worked to improve the welfare of people age 18 to, and sometimes to death, who have intellectual and/or developmental disabilities. And we help their families also. We do more than that. At this point, I was going to ask you to close your eyes, and I was going to tell you a short story, but you don't need to do that. I think you'll get the point. Imagine, if you will, you're 16 years old. You're very well thought of in your community. You're well loved by your family. You're scholastically doing very well in high school. You're very popular. You're very well thought of at your church. You were very athletic. You love to swim. Your family has a backyard pool. But one crazy day, you jump into that pool head first in the waiting area. At this point, I would check in and ask you, with your eyes closed, are you floating? Are you feeling it? Can you feel anything? Do you even know where you are? You wake up, you're in the hospital. You were paralyzed from your upper torso down. You were told that you will have partial use of one arm, possibly the hand, and that's all for life. And as you know it, your life is over. You're laying there and that's it. You will never walk. You will never drive a car. You may not even graduate with your high school class. At least that's what they're telling you. And going to college, well, who knows? At this point, it's hard to imagine that being your life. But that is actually one of our participants at the ARC Northwest Indiana that I had the privilege of working with when I was a job developer before my now position as development director. He persevered. When they told him no, he couldn't do it, he was determined he was going to do it. He graduated with his high school class because he spent hour on hour working to do that through the entire summer. He went on to a university here in Indiana, graduated with honors, pledged a fraternity, saved them countless money that they had lost, and then he continued his education by receiving his master's degree. He did get a few part-time jobs, but that's where the story kind of goes sour. He kind of hit a wall. He wasn't getting any more interviews. Someone said, the Ark can help you. So his family and his friends hooked him up with us, and we worked with him. I, in particular, got to work with him, and we were able to develop a position for him with one of the major utility companies in Northwest Indiana, and he started out with a part-time position. And because he was so dynamic and worked so hard and never questioned what they asked him to do, he is now working what is called in his vernacular a full-time position. We conduct many other activities at the Ark that you may well be aware of. We enable adult life choices. We have day services where participants learn valuable work and socialization skills. We have group habilitation, which provides individuals with classes in arts and crafts, cooking, fitness, health, and computers. Social integration programs provide training in successful methods of communication and conduct. Work Services Program provides work and pay for some of those clients who might not find a position outside of the Ark, but they can work within the Ark and earn a paycheck. And that happens within our 4 workshops, one of them in Highland on Kennedy, one in Hobart on Old Ridge Road, the one in Crown Point across from the high school, and I think you're aware of the one on 35th, which is where our main facility is. Now back to that job development that I was talking about. That's just one team within the total framework of the Ark Northwest Indiana. And here comes the most important part, and it's why I'm here today. Not only to thank you, because we did receive a grant from the city of Hammond, but in 2012, of the 199 clients that went through our program in job development, 38 of them are Hammond residents, and 15 are East Chicago residents. We found employment for all 53, which means that they are working, they are making an average of $7.90 an hour, they are averaging 21 hours a week, which for most of them, that's all they can work, so they're considered full-time workers. I know this may not seem that impressive. If you look at those numbers, they seem small, but when I did the math and took all those numbers times 52 weeks a year, they brought in 2012, $457,220.40. That's earned money that they're paying taxes on and that they're spending in this community. I was overwhelmed with the number. Had no idea that it was that high. And that can only go up with the more people that we find positions for. I just wanted to share those numbers with you and let you know that we feel at the Ark that we are a partner in our community and we want to partner with the city of Hammond. And we work daily guiding, inspiring, and empowering our participants to be the best that they can be and to lead better lives within their communities. So again, I say thank you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Deaton.
If there's any questions?
I would like to make a comment. I have 2 family members that you have helped. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to number 4, reading of minutes.
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
make a motion to accept the minutes from August 12, 2013. So moved.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Spitali to accept the minutes, second by Councilman Emerson. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on the acceptance of minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes accepted. Number 5, approval of claims.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kowinski.
motion to approve claims beginning with claims dated 8/14/13, ending with claims dated 8/21/13, claim number 3933 through claim number 4228 inclusive.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Kowinski, second by Councilman Spitali to accept the claims 3933 through 4228. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to amend in claim number 4229 for the neighborhood reunion on Sherman Street for $200. I so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Hinojosa on amendment, claim 4229. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on the amendment of claim 4229? Councilman Hinojosa. Clerk Golick, roll call vote on the amendment.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Amended claim passes 8-0, 1 absent. Now on the amendments as written, or on the claims as written. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes, claims pass 8-0, 1 absent. Now moving on to public hearings. First public hearing, 1330, is now open for public hearing. It's an ordinance authorizing the city of Hammond, Indiana to issue its Economic Development Revenue Bonds, Series 2013 Munster Seal Project, and approving other actions in respect thereto. Public hearing is now open. Anybody here like to speak on ordinance 1330? Anyone wishing to speak on 1330? Public hearing for 1330 is now closed. Now the public hearing for 1331, an ordinance vacating 5 remaining alley sections bisecting a property situated on the corner of Columbia Avenue and 172nd Street, which property was previously known as the E.B. Hayward branch of the Hammond Public Library. If anybody has any questions, the public hearing is now open. Would anybody like to speak on 1331? Hearing none, seeing none, public hearing for 1331 is now closed. Moving on to number 7, communications. Is there any communications?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
first of all, I would like to thank Councilman Hinojosa as well as Councilman Markovich for coming out for the back-to-school giveaway. It was a huge success on Saturday, and a lot of kids were able to get school supplies to start off a great school year. So I'm very proud of that, and we also were able to give them refreshments and fruit, and there were a number of people that helped, but particularly my colleagues on the council, I want to just personally say thank you. It was the 12th annual back-to-school giveaway, and I think the kids really appreciate your efforts in helping them with the school supplies. You're invited to the Paris Rue Subdivision Model Homes ribbon cutting ceremony. It's going to be held on Thursday, August 29th, 2013 at 1 p.m. at 7018 Carolina Court, Hammond, Indiana, 46323. For more information, contact Alexis D. Barber, Executive Director of the United Neighborhood Inc., UNI, 219-937-0200.
Any other communications? Any other communications? Communications is now closed. Moving on to committee reports.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Kowinski.
council as a whole will bring out 13-31.
Any other committee reports?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
council as a whole will be bringing out 1332.
Any other committee reports?
You guys bring out 1330? Oh, there's a committee meeting.
Any other committee reports? Committee reports is now closed. Ordinance, third and final reading.
Ordinance number 1331, sponsored by Councilman Opinker. The petitioner is NPE Holdings LLC. An ordinance vacating 5 remaining alley sections, bisecting a property situated on the corner of Columbia Avenue and 172nd Street, which property was previously known as the E.B. Hayward branch of the Hammond Public Library.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I move for final passage of 1331. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali. Final passage, is there any discussion? Any discussion on 1331? Any discussion on 1331? Clerk, go with the roll call vote.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1331 passes 8-0, one absent.
Ordinance 13-32, sponsored by Councilwoman Vines. Add ordinance amending ordinance 8574, also known as section 72.016 of the Hammond Municipal Code, as it pertains to administrative towing fees.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
I move for final passage of 1332.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Vines, second by Councilman Spitali. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
this will increase the administrative fees for vehicles that have been towed. They have not had an increase since 2004. It will increase from $20 to $40. So anyone whose vehicle is towed before it will be released by the Hammond Police Department will now pay $40.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 1332.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Ordinance 1332 passes 8-0, one absent.
President Opinker, that concludes the reading of the ordinance's final passage.
Moving on to number 10, introduction of ordinances.
Item A, ordinance 1333, the 2014 Civil City Budget Proposal.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I move that we move 1333 on first and second reading by title and to refer council as a whole with a public hearing scheduled on
923.
9/23/2013. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali to move 1333 in the council as a whole, first and second reading. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second passes.
Item B, ordinance 13-34, sponsored by Councilwoman Vines. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 9182, also known as the salary ordinance for the Hammond City Court, as it relates to court employees.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
I move for first and second reading and refer to council as a whole.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Vines, second by Councilman Spitali. First and second reading, move to council as a whole. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second passes.
Item C, Ordinance 1335, sponsored by Councilman Higgs. An ordinance appropriating money from the clerk's perpetuation fund.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I move for 1335 on first and second reading by title. The public hearing scheduled on 9/23/13. I so move. Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Hinojosa. First and second reading on 1335. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on 1335? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second passes.
Item E, ordinance 1337, sponsored by Councilwoman Venez. An ordinance amending ordinance 4109, 7016, and 7335, also known as section 91.092 of the Hammond Municipal Code as it pertains to fees paid for the quarantine fighting dogs.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I move for first and second reading and refer to council as a whole.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Hinojosa to move 1337 to council as a whole. First and second reading. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on 1337? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second passes on 1337.
Item F, ordinance 13-38, sponsored by Councilwoman Venez. An ordinance amending ordinance 4109, 7016, and 4201, also known as section 91.074 of the Hammond Municipal Code as it pertains to fees paid for impounded and unclaimed animals.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I move for first and second reading and refer to council as a whole.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Hinojosa to move 1338, council as a whole. First and second. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on 1338? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? First and second passes on 1338.
President Opinker, that concludes the introduction of ordinances.
Moving on to number 11, resolutions.
Item A, Resolution 13R24, sponsored by Councilman Opinker. A resolution authorizing the Hammond Fire Department to apply for a 2013 federal SAFER grant.
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
move for final passage for R 13R24.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Higgs on passage of 13R24. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to be added as a sponsor of that ordinance.
Councilman Higgs would be like to be added as a sponsor. Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Hinojosa.
just to give some information to the public on this grant money, which is $965,046, will help hire 6 new firefighters for 2 years.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman
and
Spitali.
that's at no cost to taxpayers.
Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 13R24.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Resolution 13R24 passes 8-0, 1 absent.
Item B, Resolution 13R25, sponsored by Councilman Higgs. A resolution confirming the reappointment of Debbie McGough as a commissioner of the Hammond Historic Preservation Commission of the City of Hammond, Indiana.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I move final passage of 13R25. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 13R25. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 13R25.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. Resolution 13R25 passes 7-0, 2 absent.
Item C, Resolution 13R26, sponsored by Councilman Higgs. A resolution confirming the reappointment of Patrick Swibes as the Commissioner of the Hammond Historic Preservation Commission of the City of Hammond, Indiana.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I move for final passage of 13R26. I so move.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 13R26. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on 13R26? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 13R26.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa.
Yes.
Opinker.
Yes. 13R26 passes 7-0, 2 absent.
Item D, Resolution 13R-27, a resolution appointing Karen Janiga to the Hammond Library Board.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
I move for final passage of 13R27.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Vines, second by Councilman Emerson on final passage of 13R27. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
Karen Janica is, of course, a resident of Hammond. She has 3 children. She and all of her children have library cards and have utilized the library. Karen is an employee of the City of Hammond in redevelopment. She oversees the HUD dollars. This is a non-paid position. Karen, I believe, will be an asset to the library board. Given some of the challenges that we've had in the past, I think Karen can bring a breath of fresh air. So we thank Paul Taylor for his past service, and Karen will assume the position effective September 11th, given the vote passes. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
while I was on the Planning Commission, Karen was always appropriate, courteous, and punctual, as well as the Housing Task Force that I served on for a while. So I think she'd be a great addition. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
I worked with Karen when I was on the redevelopment board for 7 years, and she does a great job.
Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 13R27.
Markovich. Spitali.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes. 13R27 passes 8-0, 1 absent. That concludes our resolutions. Moving on to new and unfinished business.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
got a Human Relations Commission is having a free event. Join us for a full day of information, workshops, and training. Keynote speaker. Breakfast and lunch will be served. Trainers and keynote speakers Michael Mitchell and Jeffrey May. National Community Reinvestment Coalition, Fair Housing Division, Washington, D.C. trainers. F. Willis, Bill Carcel, attorney, John Marshall Law School, Chicago, Illinois. Opening speaker, Dr. Edward Williams, chairman of the Mayor's Organization of Disabilities in Gary, Indiana. And that's going to be held on September 5th, 2013 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Dynasty Banquet Halls, 4125 Calumet Avenue, Hammond, Indiana, 46320.
Any other known and finished business?
Mr.
Mr. President,
Councilman Hinojosa.
usually for the month of September, a lot of the cities and counties and states declare the month of September as Hispanic Heritage Month. And I have a notification here from the Hammond Public Library. You are currently invited to a kickoff to the Hispanic Heritage Month on Thursday, September 12th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Hammond Public Library, 564 State Street. Please join the Hammond Public Library in honoring the Hammond Hispanic Community Committee and its founding board members on the occasion of HHCC's 20th anniversary year. This event will feature entertainment and refreshments as well as the unveiling of the new HHCC logo and information about HHCC's annual Latino Resource Fair set for Saturday, October 5th at the Gene Shepherd Center in Hammond.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like a letter sent to engineering and Board of Works in regards to light at 219 Kenwood. Pole number is a NIPSCO pool 10441, and also for lights at 5900 Road, 89609 is the pole number, and also 6200 block of Tapper, 96 over 754 is the pole number, and also on Monroe, the light number is 42886. 6237. Actually, it's on in front of 6237 Monroe, so the pole number would be 42886. And the lights were out last night from Conkey Street all the way to May Street. The ornamental lighting needs to be repaired. And also, there are some stumps that still exist in the 900 block of Merrill, as well as on Ames Street, the 1100 block of Ames. And I did submit a letter to Board of Works in regards to utilizing the casino dollars and doing whatever is necessary to get them stumps up. So I'm willing to contribute whatever is necessary to get that done. And I don't know, for whatever reason, it's taken a long time, but they need to be taken out and leveled to the ground from the storm, and that's been over a month, and for whatever reason, it hasn't taken place yet. So I so move that those letters be submitted.
There's a motion by Councilman Higgs. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Hinojosa to send a letter to Engineering and Street Department on some lighting issues, and also the Park Department on some stump issues. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion granted.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
over the weekend, I had the distinct honor and pleasure of attending the 90th birthday party of an icon here in Hammond, Miss Willie Mae Dorr. Her family threw her a party that was just wonderful, and I just wanted to say from the city of Hammond, happy birthday to Mrs. Durr. Thank you.
Any other known and finished business?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
yes, I would like to announce a couple of Crime Watch meetings that are coming up. On Wednesday, September 4th, Edison Community Watch will meet 6:30 p.m. At Edison School. On Thursday, September 5th, Edison Community Watch goes on the road, and they will have a meeting at the Golden Manor Senior Apartments on 175th and Columbia. That is at 6 p.m. Just a side note about Golden Manor. They started a pilot recycling program in their building. Because they're a multifamily building, they're not required to recycle, but they wanted to start recycling. And they really took this on with fervor. Well, we found out that Lake County Solid Waste was offering a bench made of recycled material if you collected 400 pounds of plastic bottle caps. like from the bottle of water, they don't weigh very much, let me tell you, I found out. Well, at any rate, the seniors and the neighborhood have collected 650 pounds of bottle caps. They are the first in Lake County to be awarded the bench of recycled material, and they are well on their way to getting a second bench. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to the neighborhood for coming together as a community and supporting the seniors. I thought that was great. And there is one more Crime Watch meeting. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Irving Community Watch will meet Friday, September 6th at 9:15 a.m. at Irving School. And that is on 4727 Pine. And that is how change happens. One person, one gesture, one moment at a time. Thank you.
Any other known unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
we got a young man that's going to be giving us a little presentation about his organization that existed in Hammond, and that's Kurt Williams, who's actually here in the audience, and he's going to give us a little presentation on the public expression, but I wanted to thank him for bringing it to my attention what his organization does, and certainly if we can be of assistance, I'm sure my colleagues will be more than happy to assist you in your efforts.
Any other known unfinished business? Known unfinished is now closed. Moving on to public expression. Our first speaker will be Mr. Kurt Williams.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kirk Williams. I am the CEO of Aftermath Relief. We are a disaster relief organization in the city of Hammond. We are the first disaster refuge relief center, 836 Field Street. We give temporary shelter to disaster victims, food, clothes, and we give them financial assistance. We also have a transportation from tragedy outfit, which is we get donated furniture, and as the victims get back on their feet, we donate furniture and we deliver it to the victims. Very, very, very needed organization, and we need some help. And I wanted to introduce myself to the city of Hammond. We've been doing disaster relief for 17 years, and I've been in the city of Hammond for the last year with the House of Refuge. We need some donations, and I've tried to go through the cities, so I'm starting here to do the things decent and in order, and I pray that you all are on our side. It's a very needed organization, and we would love to help the fire victims and the flood victims of Hammond. And any time it's a natural disaster strikes, we don't know when it does, but the last one, we had a terrible little storm about a month and a half ago, and Aftermath Relief, we helped 3 families after that turmoil. And just need some help, and wanted to introduce myself to the council. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker will be Ms. Kim Engel.
Good evening, Council. My name is Kim Engel. I'm new resident to the city of Hammond. I'm sorry to say that my first time here is due to a dog attack by a pit bull. I had sent a letter to Council Emerson. He did call me over the weekend and again today regarding the incident. My big concern, I guess, with this incident, I understand a lot of dogs couldn't get out of their yards, and it's not just the fact that it was a pit bull. There's other dogs in the neighborhood that I see appear quite vicious as I'm walking my dog, and the owners don't appear to have proper fencing. This owner here, after the whole ordeal had been finalized, or however you want to put it, his comment to me when I asked him how the hell his dog got out of his yard, he said he jumped the fence. And then I said, well, you need to get a new fence. And his comment was, well, what do you expect? He's a pit, he's territorial. You walk past my yard. I pay tax dollars here. I should be able to walk past a yard without being, well, the dog I'm walking being attacked by a pit bull. The dog was very lucky. It did not get torn up the way I thought it was being torn up at the time. It did have some puncture marks on him, but other than that, had it not been for my pit bull stopping this dog from attacking, and my dog did not bite, it just body fought at this dog. My dog is trained very well, but the attitude of this owner is what really concerns me. My understanding is there's been other incidents with this dog. It hasn't been on a regular basis, but there have been other calls, and they do have a bad attitude regarding their dog. They still have not fixed the fence in their backyard where the dog got out of. It's not completely shut like this. But I was kind of looking at the ordinance that Hammond has regarding nuisance dogs or attack dogs, and it doesn't seem very clear. The language seems kind of language when they say repetitive. You know, repetitive isn't explained very well. How many times is repetitive? And how many times does a dog have to bite? You know, I was very lucky to have not been hurt in any way. You know, for the owner of the dog never did anything either but yell at his dog. He never grabbed his dog, tried to pull him away by the collar. It gave me the feeling that he's taught this dog to attack, and he was afraid to even do anything with his own dog. And I guess I would just like the council to maybe look at the ordinances a little bit better, define what they mean by biting. Does it have to actually break the skin? Because that's kind of my understanding, that dogs only get quarantined if they puncture. It shouldn't matter. If a dog attacks, just because this dog got lucky doesn't make it okay. You know, so I'd like you to look at your ordinances, you know, regarding any type of dog, not just pit bulls, but any type of dog, and the way they're encased in their yards.
Thank you, Ms. Engel. Final speaker of the evening will be Mr. George Stoya.
George Stoyer, Robertsdale. Let's see, how should I start this? Hammond, as I understand it, is still lagging behind in recovering from the economic recession this nation's been in, I guess, for the past 5, maybe longer, 6 years. And I find that the council is become somewhat unperturbed, or maybe disturbed. I don't know how to put it really. This penchant for raising fees. I mean, you know, we just had the levy lifted. In addition to that, we have the option income tax that was passed. And yet, you know, you guys seem like hell-bent to pass these new fines. I mean, like $40 just because your car got towed. I mean, why? What was wrong with 20? 30 for that matter. Why has it got to be another 20? I mean, nowadays you got to, and then on top of that, you got to pay $20 just to get a police report. This is getting out of hand here. I mean, I feel like I'm being gouged or preyed upon. I mean, this is oppressive. This is predatory. I mean, what's the message here? Let the citizen beware. Don't do anything wrong in Hammond because you are going to get fined. That's not the way to run a city. I'm sorry. I got real problems with this. I mean, for instance, Councilwoman Vanez was ready to pass until she was corrected by the city attorney here. $125 a day fee or whatever you want to call it, fine for a dog. Now, I understand dog bites are a little different than towing and stuff like that, but you know, she's gun ho. $125 a day, really? Didn't stop her until council here corrected her understanding of the provision. I don't like it. I can't do anything more but speak out about it, but, you know, this is just really getting heavy and oppressive. How much more money you want? You know, $40 now just because you're towed in Hammond? Thanks a lot.
That ends our public expression. We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hinojosa, second by Councilman Higgs. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.